Thanks for joining us and welcome back to the press. Of course, reaching you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. We've gotten to the part where we get to invite our guest analyst, of course, and with me today in the studio is Dr. Law Mefor. Welcome to the studio, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, it's nice to have you once again in the studio with us.
Thank you.
How has Salah break been for you?
Is a moment to really catch one's breath, take some rest. But I couldn't find enough salamit from my Muslim friends. I don't know.
So the light hand looks like everybody. I had a guest yesterday to on Polity and he said the same thing, that he was expecting salamit from me, and I'm like,
I didn't see. Yeah, to be honest, and I have many Muslim friends, and I understand the ram, in the market now is going for, well over 100,000. In some cases up to 200,000, and perhaps more. And that's the kind of amount you would devote to buy a whole cow. In the last past few months. So you can see why many of my friends couldn't afford, come through for me as they used to do. Because in the past, a day like Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, damn. Meat everywhere. And
so this Salah is not Salahing.
I really don't know. I don't know. It's and it's indicative of something. It shows that indeed, the economy is not smiling at all. And because if it's the festivity as fundamental as Salah, couldn't be well celebrated by the Muslim faithful and their friends, because it's a Nigerian celebration.
Yes,
I'm a Christian, but I relish in it as much as my Muslim friends do. So I believe that something has fundamentally gone wrong in our own economy, and we need to return to the drawing board and begin to identify what got fundamentally altered, and see if we can begin to bring things back on track, so that the Nigerians can smile again.
Speaking about bringing things back on track, it's been 30 days since we inaugurated President Tinubu. But before we go on, I'd like to remind our viewers at home that our phone lines are on, of course, to take your calls, and you can join in on the conversation. And now moving on to President Tinubu's inauguration. It's been 30 days, and it looks like it's been 30 days of so many things happening. But then it's saying, despite its failure, money was confiscated. He's talking about the Naira redesign, and then in one of the papers this morning, he said he invoked the spirit of Emilokon, and that is why he was sure about for Nigerian Tribune. He said, I invoked Emilokon's spirit of freedom, determination to win 2023 poll. He says he promises to fast track Nigeria's economic growth. I could have benefited from dual exchange rates if retained. Yeah, that's on Nigerian Tribune this morning. What is your take on this? And then let's have the fact that it's been 30 days and a lot has happened.
Yeah, well, 30 days, the president has introduced many fundamental economic policies, and many of them jolted the entire economy. And there is no evidence that the president and his team actually thought through some of those policies, as good as they may be. For example, the fuel subsidy removal. Yes, we are all for it. Remove a fuel subsidy because it's not benefiting Nigerians. But then the process of removing it is quite a different thing altogether. You can be right about something the wrong way. This is exactly what is wrong about Tinubu's seemingly good or even great economic policies. Like I said, the issue of fuel subsidy removal is, if our Nigerians are all in concert with that there is need to really remove it. But I don't agree with the method. You have to think through policies the side effect, the after effect, what would happen, the reaction of the polity, of the citizenry, to such policies, and how to take the reaction in your stride. This I can see in the introduction of many of these policies. The same thing also goes for the floating of the naira. Yes, it's also a very important policy, but is there really an evidence that the timing is proper? I don't think so. I don't think the timing, even though the policy is good, I don't think the timing is proper. Yeah, because I don't see what you may call welfare packages, welfare safety nets to enable Nigerians, especially those who are down there in the lower rungs of the ladder, to really be able to cushion the effects. Nigerians are not taking it well.
Okay, sorry to cut you short, but then let's take you back to the fuel subsidy removal.
Yeah.
You'd agree with me that under the Buhari regime, they only made provision for fuel subsidy for January to June.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the day, it was just President Tinubu's duty to just maybe his manner of approach, or the way he actually said fuel subsidy is gone, is what triggered. And at the end of the day,
it's not what he said that triggered it. It was removed, and he didn't give any counter directive.
But shouldn't it have lasted till the end of June?
That's the question now.
But then it feels like even after saying that, there was nobody to actually checkmate most of these people to say, oh, you shouldn't have hiked the price. Because as of now, as of yesterday, they said they had a meeting and we're looking at having 700 naira per litre for petrol.
That's the point I'm making. That, people say the president, arbitrarily removed the fuel subsidy, or that marketers responded to the declaration in his inaugural speech that the fuel subsidy was gone.
Yeah.
I don't think so. It amounted to economic sabotage for the NNPC to review its pricing from 197 to 550 or 40, per liter of fuel, if the president did not approve it. It's impossible, because NNPC Limited is still 100% government-owned, a private concern, economic concern. They understand that. So it means that the NNPC, as constituted as of today, cannot take certain actions without approval of the president. So it is the program of the president to remove the fuel subsidy.
Okay, please, let's take this call before you continue. Good morning. Thank you for calling the press.
Good morning.
Please, your name and where you're calling from.
I'm calling from Mefor.
Please, can you speak up? We can barely hear you.
Calling from Mefor.
Okay, all right. Please join in on the conversation in 60 seconds.
Thank you. Please, I want the analyst to let me understand something very little. Yesterday, I couldn't meet up with you people.
Okay.
Like there was a particular headline I was seeing. I don't know the actual newspaper headline anyway, but there was something that they are saying that they are going to make sacrifice. If there is any people to make sacrifice now, if really this state assembly, if they really have the pains, the sufferings of the masses at heart, then let them reduce all the excesses. Why are we saying all this? We all know what is happening. You can see a senator that will have a PA, that his PA will have a PA, and that same PA, the PAs are more than 20 to 30. Come to the personal, advisor or whatsoever thing again. They are just, they are bundles. That is what causes the excesses, that the money is not even enough for them each time. But how much are they paying these people that make them to be known and be recognized as an educated person? During our time, we don't have anything like this nursery school of 18. We attend this primary school, and we are very brilliant. The only thing we happen to pay is just PTA. As of our time, it's around 5 naira of 18. Now PTA is around 2,000, 3,000. In my place now, like last week, some children are at home because of PTA, because their parents could not afford it. The same thing are teachers. They are not paid. Even the national.
Hello, can you hear us? Hello.
Are not going on. Nobody was scared to say anything concerning how things will go well. Every now and then, you see our nurses running out to go and work in UK, work in Canada, work in this, work in that. If it happens to know here of a best neurosurgeon nice for Nigeria, but they cannot be here because things are not okay. Are we ready to make things okay? Are we ready to bring things to happen in our place? Or should we be running and look at the amount they are selling dollars now?
Okay, sir, we got that.
So many things are going wrong, and we are sitting on the time bomb.
Okay,
I pray, each time I say I pray and I pray.
All right, sir.
We are going to face it when it happens.
Okay, all right. All right, thank you for calling, sir. I think the headline he was making reference to is on the Punch for yesterday. It says, current pains necessary, says Tinubu. Governors preach unity.
You know, you see, the whole thing is wrong. I get where he is coming from. And there is a lot of cause for concern. You know, when you say pains, you know, today I read where the president was saying that we need to, you know, take the baby walk pain.
The baby walk, you know, yes, he said in one of the papers this morning.
You know, whatever that means. I'm not aware that baby walk has to be painful. Right?
Yes.
Yes. Maybe it's a learning process. You know, trying to adjust to a new administration and its policies. That may be what he is talking about. But look at the political leadership itself. Are they adjusting? Along with the Nigerian masses, they are advancing their pains in a direction that they may find them very soon unable to really carry. There is a proposal now before the president, you know, for an increase in the allowances and everything about the political office holders, you know, up to the president, 114%. You know, so you get the point. Is that what should, you know, preoccupy the political office holders at the moment? If they really want, if they really want adjustment, if they want Nigerians to sacrifice, and themselves are only, you know, only increasing their own comfort, how do you want Nigerian masses to take that? Yes, the president is yet to approve. You know, I agree, but again, I also hear that this 114% may have been implemented already since January. You know, some of these things, they don't get advertised, talked about in the media, and so on and so forth. This is one level of the problem. In other words, you are asking Nigerian masses to take more, you know, take more pain, sacrifice more, so that there will be enough for the political class. That is the way I say it. What that means is that the policies are targeted at raising enough money to subsidize the political elites. That is heinous. It's evil. In fact, there is this dictum that in a war, officers eat last. In other words, if there is a segment of the society that will sacrifice some more now, it should be the political elites. They are already comfortable. And you're asking the masses that can't afford even their basic transportation, their basic feeding, allowances, and so on and so forth, to sacrifice more. The question ultimately is, what is the sacrifice of the Nigerian political elite? I don't see any. The policies are targeted at the poor. You know, once I said that removal of the subsidy, you know, across board, is because government is not able to deal with corruption. For example, the fuel subsidy is necessary. But you can say that Nigerian masses are not benefiting from the fuel subsidy.
Yes, yes.
In other words, Nigerian masses are made to pay for the subsidy enjoyed by the rich. What that means is that the masses are subsidizing Nigerian rich.
I'm sorry, let's quickly take this call.
That's crazy, but that's our experience. That's where we are.
All right. Good morning. Thank you for calling the press. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
I greet you. Good morning and well done.
Good morning.
Yeah, I greet your guest. My name is Alabalape and I'm coming from Lagos.
Okay.
Government.
All right. Please join in on the conversation.
I salute your guest here, sir, but I want to disagree a bit with one of your submissions, the way you started. You're talking about the timing of the removal of the subsidy. And so we are not saying that the removal of the subsidy, the timing is wrong. When precisely, and how are you expecting the government, the president, to start the removal of the subsidy? And don't forget, all the presidential candidates, all of them said their very first day in office, the subsidy is going to go. And I know you will vote for one of these presidential candidates. Are you not telling me if it is the article that won the election, or if we will be that won the election, sir, will you be saying the same thing? Or is it because of Bola Tinubu that won the election and you're not saying that the timing that he removed the subsidy is wrong? I think I want to appeal to all of us, especially the Nigerians, that we should just give this man benefit of doubt. The man has started very well, and the time to remove the subsidy is now. And the one I'm expecting all of us to say that, okay, now, you read it on the news that 400 billion naira has been saved for the past 4 weeks. I'm expecting that we should be talking and be monitoring how the money will go. Not about the removal of the subsidy timing anymore. Okay, the 400 billion, how is it going to go? Who are those that are going to benefit from it? I think let us give assurance. The man has something to offer. Let us give him benefit of doubt. He's going to work for Nigeria. He's not going to disappoint Nigeria. I so much believe in President Bola Tinubu. By God's grace, God will assist him. We will pray for him. We will support him. Good morning and God bless you.
All right.
Well, you see, this kind of political response is not. I'm not here for that. Okay. But let me shape his thoughts.
Okay.
Right. Buhari administration made provision for fuel subsidy till end of June. You removed it end of May. 1 month gap is a lot. Do you understand that?
Yes.
The removal ought to have taken effect 1st of July. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Then the new president would have very clear window, 1 whole month, to be able to plan palliatives, to be able to plan importation of fuel. Do you understand that? But you did all this before, you did all this, you abandoned all this and announced the removal. Now, as we speak, there is no plan for palliatives. There is no welfare safety nets in place for the masses. That's the point I'm making. And he's talking about Atiku and Obi. If Atiku and Obi did the same thing, it would be wrong. Do you understand that? I'm not Atiku, I'm not Obi, I'm not a politician even. But the fact remains that you remove subsidy without fuel import. We expected the president to use 1 whole month to bring to the table what would be the safety nets for Nigerians. You bring in labor, bring in marketers, bring everybody to the table, issue licenses to private importers of fuel. So that within that 1 month, enough fuel would be in the country to match what you have as the reserve by NNPC and NNPC importation. Don't forget that prior to that May 29, removal, abrupt, removal of the fuel subsidy, that what obtained in Nigeria was a monopoly enjoyed by the NNPC. NNPC was the only organization importing fuel in Nigeria. I don't know whether he knows. Now, you needed to bring in competition into the fray. And 1 month is a lot to do this. What the white man would call putting the cart before the horse. It is the horse that will drag the cart, not the other way around. So if you remove fuel subsidy, before you make provisions for enough fuel, alternative fuel supplies, from other independent marketers, even allowing Nigerians to enjoy the 1 month window already provided for by the Buhari administration. These are things the Tinubu administration did not put into consideration. And that's the point I'm making. I already admitted that I want fuel subsidy removal. We said that. But you don't remove it the way you did. Now you have forced everything to go up. Everything across board, including salt, table salt. You don't allow that. You don't float the naira. See, you ask economists about reforms. You don't introduce too many reforms at the same time. You don't remove subsidy and float the naira at the same time. Now you are floating the naira. As we speak now, the floating of the naira has, pushed the price of everything up by 200 to 300%. You need to plan this. Plan, what you call safety nets, what you call the fallback options. If you don't do this, you are leaving the entire economic system to what you call market forces. You don't do that like that. You need to face it out. You need to plan it. You need to put a lot in place. When you leave Nigeria to demand and supply totally, what is your manufacturing base? Your manufacturing base is so weak. So what do you plan, for example, as the alternative to what you call the subsidies enjoyed by Nigerians? Let me give you an example. Abacha administration removed subsidy. But what they did was to set up PTF. That was what Abacha did. A military man. He put up PTF and made Buhari the chairman of PTF. And PTF took on Nigerian welfare delivery from infrastructure to essential goods, and nobody felt the subsidy removal. That's the point I'm making. So compare the Abacha experience with what Tinubu has just done, and tell me who is wiser. Do you understand that? Yeah. Yes, we want these policies to be implemented, but the way you go about certain policies can damage the good intentions.
Or could it be said that he didn't know the power he was holding at that particular moment? Because he actually came out to just say...
He was for that policy. It was the clear presidential approval. If that happened and it wasn't what you wanted, you give a counter directive. He didn't do that. But he watched and allowed NNPC move their official price from 197 naira a liter to 550 naira. Are you saying that happened because the president was not aware? Was the president not in the country? If people misunderstood your inaugural speech, you give a counter directive. That is why you have regulatory agencies. He didn't do that. What that means is that the president approved it. He did. And I also understand why the president would even let go, because as at that time, he was already saying that he met an empty well, to use his own words. No money to run the economy. So he's now falling back on Nigerian masses to contribute to run the government. Up till now, he is not looking in the direction of the people that stole trillions from Nigerian coffers. If he wants to run Nigeria, it's not the dying masses that will contribute, money to run the administration. We have enough money inherent in the system. Look, let me give you an example. NNPC was running what we call crude fuel swap, right?
Yes.
They were giving crude oil to refiners, and refiners were giving us refined fuel. And yet you're billing Nigerians trillions in subsidy. So what was the subsidy meant for? Since you're giving crude to refiners, and Nigeria for 2022 expended about 10 trillion in oil subsidy, in fuel subsidy. So what happened to the physical crude you delivered to refiners? Tinubu needs to go into all these things to understand what went right or what went wrong. The point I'm making is, if you are paying 10 trillion per annum for subsidy, you cannot at the same time be giving crude I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Because the subsidy is to pay for the balance, the difference between production and the refining. Now, if you are giving your own crude, presumably they are not paying for the crude. That is why it is called a swap, a kind of trade by barter. So where did the 10 trillion go into? That's a simple question. I expect people like you to be asking. Do you understand that? Look, if they like, if a liter of fuel can go for 10,000 naira, I will be on the road. It's not about me. It's about the suffering Nigerian masses. Nigerians can no longer survive. Do you get the point? So you can, like I said, you can do the right things the wrong way. It's an advice to the president to backtrack and you take a step back and look at certain things. You can't take certain things back now, but how about future actions? Do you get the point? Yeah. Now they propose 114% increase for all political office holders' allowances. The president is aware of this. Do you know that a statement from the president saying, look, this can't happen now? Do you know how far that can go? But he said nothing. He is rather talking about a miracle spirit he invoked, which is invariably telling Nigerians that his mandate came from some spiritual forces and not even from them. And is he now saying that he's working and ready to work for Nigerians?
All right, Dr. Law,
we have a president that has to work for Nigeria and for Nigerians if things will get any better, and he has to deal with the political class. He has to recover the money they took away from Nigerians to have enough money to be able to run the economy. We need safety nets. We need palliatives. We need welfare packages. Nigerians are dying. They are not just suffering, they are dying. Do you know the number of Nigerians, outside the country who have to now buy exchange rates, at the collapsed conference now? Nigerian students who are out there who were paying for their school fees for 450 naira per dollar, that will now have to pay for that for 750 naira per dollar. Has anybody calculated the implications of that?
All right, please, all that.
Do you know that under these kind of conditions, you may even have to, make some special interventions and interventions for certain segments of the society. That is what I mean by thinking through policies and then finding interventions and cushioning the effects so that the people do not have to die before the benefits of such policies begin to manifest.
Okay, let's quickly take this call. Hello, good morning. Thank you for calling the press. Hello, good morning.
Morning, how do you do?
Well, fine, thank you. Please step away from your TV set or you reduce the volume.
How do you do?
Well, fine, thank you. Please, your name.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah. My name is Mohammed from Gombe.
Okay, all right. Please join in on the conversation.
Yeah, we absolutely support what doctor is trying to point out to us.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead, please.
My name is Mohammed from Gombe.
Join in on the conversation. Yes, we can. Join in on the conversation.
You see the point of our subsidy removal, which the Mr. President, quickly announced it. And that was a good thing at the wrong time. Because you see what Doctor is trying to point out here is that I didn't think that the man just slowed down a little bit. Things could have been favored the Nigerian move out with the palliatives on ground so that people will survive. But as I'm speaking to you right now, honestly, in life of Gombe State, I see the masses shedding tears because people are passing through another different thing entirely. And which the doctor is trying to point out. In fact, I support his point, which is good. In fact, life in Gombe, it was so difficult for people to survive. And I strongly believe not only in Gombe State, but all over the state have been passing through that the same situation. And which, in fact, is something difficult. May the Lord help us.
Amen. All right, thank you very much from Gombe. Let's take this other call too. Good morning. Thank you for calling the press. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Beautiful morning, Babajide, and then good morning, Dr. Lowe.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
senior citizen. Thank you very much, sir. Let me appreciate you.
Good morning, sir.
You are on to be from Lagos.
All right, please, SMD, thank you for calling, joining on the conversation.
Thank you very much, our senior citizen. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you, and I concur with all what you've been saying. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And then even before now, let us all remember Mr. President made mention something, and then he said no room for no excuses for failure. That was before now. And then yesterday he was telling the governors, get ready to fix the economy together with me, which is a very good message. And then I also follow up what he made mention. In summary, Mr. President was telling them, let us get ready and fix this economy because I have an open door policy and I'm ready to work with you. So there is no any excuse from any governor in this our 36 states to come up with an issue of failure. But the main thing, like your guest mentioned, there is need for us to look at, in fact, let me just put it this way. We should apply, the government should apply the methods of SWOT. That is when it comes to economic setting. That is SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunity, and strength. So that at least we can be able to fix this economy. Of course, Nigerians are suffering. Like your guest mentioned, I know somebody who slaughtered terror that was last year. But today, a single family cannot be able to afford. They are asking of what to eat, not meat to eat. The food that are going to eat during the salad period, not the meat that are going to eat or to share. This is to show you that the economic setting is not in the same ground with what we have on ground long ago. And we cannot expect miracle and El Dorado to happen. It was policy, and government policies means a lot when it comes to economic setting. Otherwise, things will not be okay, which we don't pray for. Therefore, I am asking for this, our policy makers, to at least look at the cost of governance. Believe me, in 2 weeks' time, you will be hearing about National Assembly, bonus allowances, withdrawal allowances, entertainment. Who does that in this kind of situation? At least we should look into the government setting, especially when it comes to economic security, and like you just mentioned, palliatives. Palliatives does not mean that deep conditional payment of 5,000. No. We need palliatives that, especially somebody go to the hospital, they will tell him that, okay, your bill is so amount, but you have to pay so amount because you are being subsidized by the government. Let it be from the primary health to the state level, to the federal level. That we know that there is palliatives. There should be a transportation assistance, at least everywhere. We saw it, and they travel outside, they saw it. Why can't we do that? We have the potential, we have the resources, we have the manpower, we have everything. So why can't we do that? The state are generating IGR. Why are they paying consultants big money in dollars to come and get their IGR? Why are we paying multiple tax? Understand? So there's so many things on ground which we need to arrange for betterment of this country. So please, let us put hands together. It's not the time of talking. Let's talk more action. That is what we expect from Nigerians, from our leaders, from our policy makers, and from the citizens. Thank you very much. Hermene SMD from Lagos. Senior Elder, I wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your kind word. You see, he made my points even better. You see, you need to put a few things on ground to enable you, have the people take the shock. The jolting is too much, and the shock is sudden and quite heavy. And the people were not expecting many of these things. So you need to psychologically prepare the people to do certain things. For example, if you had made it clear that you see by July 1, subsidy will be totally removed because there is no provision to.
But don't you think that would have made the marketers hoard fuel? Because of
why do you have? You see,
because even before this.
Wait a minute. This the fuel dumps are seen in the filling stations. Am I right? Why do you have the security system? There is a law against hoarding. Why can't you invoke such laws? They don't do that because the regulators are sharing the booty with these people. That is what's going on. Do you understand that? So it's as if Nigerian masses are thrown under the bus, left on their own, to provide their own security, provide their own palliatives, provide their own schools, provide their own roads. You know, because people are asking, what palliatives? The palliatives are there. Deal with the roads. Do you understand what I'm saying? Deal with mass transportation. These are things you need to do. Do you know the cost of malaria, you know, treatment in Nigeria per family? Deal with even just malaria. Make malaria treatment in Nigeria free. That is a palliative. Because an average Nigerian treats malaria twice a year. Do you get the point? So if you deal with malaria alone, you will be helping many poor homes. Majority of the poor homes will benefit directly. So you can do something in the health sector. You can do something in the education sector. Do you understand that? I read the education loan bill. It's not an act. If you look at the act, you will see that the people that will benefit from the loan will still be the same rich, because it gives a baseline of the income you must have before you be able to access the loan. But we are talking about the masses who are not able to afford their school fees. So how do they benefit from such loans? You can see what I mean by good policies that are not thought through. The president signed it possibly without reading it. Otherwise, the Tinubu I know will not sign such a bill and ask that there will be a specific amount of income you must have before you can access the bill without any counterpart scholarship system in place. Because there must be a way of allowing, I agree that everybody in Nigeria must not go to the university. Yes, I agree with that. But there are people who should go to university but without they don't have the funds. How do we get such people into schools? That's what we should be talking about. And this loan cannot guarantee it. And then the loan says that after 2 years, you start repaying or you go to jail. Without putting in place the fact that you need to be earning before you. Does the certificate translate to money in 2 years? No, your degree. I want to understand those who frame the bill. Does your degree certificate translate to income in 2 years? I know graduates.
Does it give jobs instantly?
That's what I'm saying. So you should be talking about those who are working, that once you start working, 2 years you start paying. That's not what the law says. You see what drives some of us crazy when we look at the way Nigeria is run. And you will see people who are even suffering more than yourself defending such. That is the tragedy. It's the tragedy. You find hoodlums, you find all manner of people for 500 naira, for 1,000 naira. They are even killing for these same political elites. Like I said, it's not for me. I will survive. I will. And I know most activists who are fighting for things to be better for Nigeria will survive. But the problem is that the people you are even fighting for don't know that you are fighting for them. You had the first caller that was talking about Atiku and Obi. Probably because he saw my red cap and presumed I'm an obedient. All right, Dr. Do you understand that? I don't need to be obedient to recognize a wrong policy. Or a good policy poorly and badly implemented against Nigerian masses. The kind of policy that can only exacerbate the suffering of the Nigerian masses. That's my concern. And we need to do something quickly. Unless we really want to watch Nigeria go under. Let me point one thing out. I'm sure you are aware that they are also proposing 40% increase in electricity tariff.
Yeah, they said it starts July 1st. That's
tomorrow. Now the question the president needs to ask the GENCOs and the disco operators. He needs to find out from them. In the last 20 years, Nigeria has pumped in up to 1 trillion into the power sector. What do we generate today? Do you understand what I'm saying? What do we generate? Abacha, I keep talking about Abacha regime. Abacha regime generated over 5,000 megawatts of electricity for Nigeria. Today, we don't generate 5,000 megawatts. And yet, we have spent, in the last 1 decade alone, we have spent over 2 trillion in electricity supply, without generating even a megawatt on top of what Abacha generated before he passed on. What that means is that we have spent trillions to fund darkness in Nigeria. Why can't Nigerians worry about this? What kind of human beings are we? I don't understand us. You can't. You are suffering, and you are defending those who are inflicting maximum punishment on you. You are suffering, and the people who are responsible for this, you are fighting for them. You are killing for them. Go and see some of them carrying their placards upside down. It means you don't even understand what is written on that placard you're carrying to defend certain terrible policies conceived against you as a person, as a community. And if you look at it, if you don't deal with this security, how do you restore food security?
Okay, let's quickly take this call, Dr. Law. Good morning. Thank you for calling the press.
Good morning.
Yes, your name and where you're calling from, please.
It's Same Collins. You know what? What I want to say in essence is this. If there is anything that will stand, we will say the National Assembly, we have to put it in law. Now, like all the comment that the analyst was giving now, all these things doesn't affect any of the National Assembly members, not the presidency. Are you getting me? Now they don't know how much they fuel all their tank. In the National Assembly, they have filling station there. Whether there is fuel for the nation, so there is no fuel. Their own fuel is in their filling station there, which all their vehicle supposed to go and fill. They don't know how much they sell. They don't know how much they pay for their hospital bill. Even their relations that their name are being listed, they don't know how much they buy their food they eat. So all these people, they'll never even have the feeling that anything is happening. That is what I have to, each time I make this call, I remind people. If you could remember, the 8th assembly, Dino Mela is saying Nigeria is sitting on a time bomb that will explode any time, and every one of them be engulfed. But no time they have ever remembered that. Whether there is school here is not their business. Which senator, which House of Rep has ever bring a bill that why is it that our school are not in session? Tell me now, since all these years, they are living life. This is very good, traveling up and down. Any nation they want to go, they will go. Whether there is increase in dollars, it's not their business. Look, if we didn't get it right this time, I'm speaking out of the little experience I have within myself. This thing, I pray to this thing, the level we are going, nobody will buy that for 700. Just watch. If that for is placed 700, you will see what happens.
All right, thank you
whether
very much.
There are people in this Nigeria that they have the mind to do anything or not. Why now? People, I told you in my yard now, so people cannot eat since morning. So people have not eaten. They don't even have they believe whether they are going to eat in the afternoon or in the evening.
All right, thank you very much.
During election, we spoke to them, they vote.
The facts are there.
Yeah.
I talked about the proposal for increase in electricity tariff. Is real. It's before the president. Now, is still part of transferring the burden to the Nigerian masses, dumping it on the Nigerian masses. Because they know that pauperization has become a policy. Keeping Nigerians poor, keeps them weak. It gets to the point that they can't raise a finger anymore. Do you know how the toad is boiled? You put the toad in cold water, because if you drop the toad in hot water, it will jump off, right?
Yes.
Drop the toad in cold water and then increase the temperature gradually until the toad boils, sitting there. That's what's happening to Nigerians. Nigerians have been so pauperized to the point that they can't do anything anymore. So government is sitting pretty, believing that Nigerians can't do anything anymore. If you believe Nigerians put you there to make life better for them, life more abundant, happiness better for them, because you are in power. The Bible says the people rejoice when the righteous rules. That is the expectations of Nigerians. It's not too much to ask. Nigerians want good governance. And how do you do that? Yes, there will be pains that will come from new economic policies, but it must be borne by all and borne more by the ruling elite. Do you get the point? The last caller talked about the total take home of a National Assembly members. He's right. You'll be surprised that the Nigerian senator is the highest paid of any legislator anywhere in the world. The question is why? Does that reflect our economy? It does not. How much does the MD of MTN earn in a year? He earns between 700 and 800 million per year. In an economy such as this, I know some firms that pay their CEOs average of 500 million in this economy, where some states cannot pay 80,000 naira minimum wage. And you tell me you have government? These are the kind of things I'm talking about. Who is regulating this? Nobody. The masses are dying. The masses are suffering. And nobody is saying anything. I gave you 2 instances. Just MTN alone. Give me one reason why the CEO of MTN should earn more than 7 million naira per annum. The figures are there. You're a journalist, you can confirm it. And it's not the only one. Find out. There are more than 20 CEOs in Nigeria that earn more than 500 million every year. One person in an economy such as this. And you have more than 50 states in Nigeria that cannot pay 18,000 naira. The new minimum wage is 30,000, but some states are still owing 18,000. Governor Alia of Benue State just managed to pay 1 month salary since assumption of office. Of course, it's just a month he came in, and there was so much jubilation in Benue. Why? Because Tom was owing months of salary. What did he do with the money? And it's not a loan. Go and look at the loan profiles of these states, even Lagos. And you ask yourself, what happened to their IGR? What happened to the money they got from the consolidated revenue? Do you know that as we speak, Nigerian debt profile has risen to the neighborhood of about 77 trillion?
Yes.
Do you understand that? The kind of money that will have to be paid by generations yet unborn. Do you understand that? And only last week, World Bank, I understand, has approved an additional $500 million. Do you get the point? Nigeria's problem, 2 things. Structure. Return Nigeria to federalism so that states can take care of themselves.
Yeah.
The number 1, let this be the last thing, if anybody gets nothing out of all I have said so far, I'm sorry I'm so angry today, is the way the country has made things for some of us that watch closely what policies ought to be. Security. That's the number 1 palliative Tinubu must give Nigerians. Tinubu believes that we need state security, state police and community police. He has to act now on that so that farmers can return to farm. Do you know how much is a pint of a paint container of a tomato down? Pepper. Do you understand that? A mudu of rice, a mudu of gari. Nigerians should think. Nigerians should understand that these are the basics. You can't feed, you can't transport yourself. If you are coming to FCDA from Maraba and you have to spend 2,000 naira every day to come and go, and you have to come for 24 days, right?
Yeah.
That translates to 48,000 naira. How much is your salary? As a graduate, what is the, a level 8 officer in the public service, earns between, 50 and 70,000, and he takes 50,000 off to pay for transportation? He has to feed. He has to feed. We're talking about just an individual that is not married, they don't have children, they don't have a wife, you don't have anything, just to transport yourself alone will take about 80% of your monthly earning. Why can't our leaders understand what we are talking about? Do they really live here in Nigeria with us? You journalists need to find out.
All right, Dr. Law, thank you very much for joining us on the program today. Today has been quite insightful, and we have over 50 missed calls right now. We're so sorry we can't take your calls, and we do hope you join us some other time. That's next week, of course, on The Press. And you've heard Dr. Law. Trust me, a lot needs to be fixed in this country. We couldn't even take half of the calls, and we couldn't even take half of the headlines for this morning. But thank you so much for joining us on The Press today and this week. This is where we come to the end. I remain Messi Babajide. See you same time, same station next week. Bye.